Redditors who cook. What's the biggest no-no thing in cooking? Cooking everything on high because you want it done faster. Do you know my mother? Everyone knows your mother. Burnt on the outside and raw in the middle like all food should be. If you have an electric stovetop coils or flat glass top. Just never turn the burners up higher than 50% unless you're boiling water and you'll also never have an issue. My family is always saying I can't cook on electric. I need a gas stove, and then I see them trying to pan cook some meat at 75% heat and they just torch it. One of the problems with electric burners is that there's no way to visually tell what the heat output is. 100% on one stove might be 50% on another. Worse, it doesn't scale linearly. 50% on the dial might be 80% of the total heat capacity, while 25% on the dial might be 10% of the total heat capacity. This will be inconsistent between stoves. A dull knife. My parents had no idea all of their knives have been dull for the past decade until I sharpened them and they were like, wow, it's like a brand new knife. My mom thought the watermelon she bought was bad when using my knife to cut it due to the knife going through it so easy. I'm surprised she still has her fingers with the dull-ass knives she uses. My mom keeps all the 23-year-old knives in a drawer. Haven't been sharpened since they left the factory. Needless to say, my knives are stored in their own area. Not only are they less effective, but it's also dangerous because a dull knife is more likely to slip and go where you don't want it rather than safely dig into the cut you're trying to make. A sharpened knife will follow your directions. A dull knife will make you follow its directions. Don't let your baking powder get clumpy. Tiny rocks of baking powder ruin anything you bake. Have done it. Biting into clumps of baking powder sends shivers down my spine. Was your body aching all the time? Don't forget to let the ingredients get to know each other. Mr. Onion. This is Mrs. Tomato. Then you push them together to make it look like they're kissing. At the first date, I like to see them married first. And use a tiny whisk. Perhaps some kosher salt and freshly ground black pepper. The trick is to undercook the onions. Everyone is going to get to know each other in the pot. Standing in the kitchen when I'm cooking. Get the fuck out. Don't get in my way. And how can I help? He inquired with a smile. He picked up a peeler and played for a while. He hovered. He loitered. He lingered with doubt. I looked at him kindly and whispered. Get out. Especially when they stand directly behind you or they stand there saying how they would have done it. Never, and I mean never, panic if you start a fire on accident. You need to be calm enough to know if you have to smother it, oil or grease fires, or grab the extinguisher. Panicking can get your house burned down. My mom fell asleep while making fries and woke up to a house full of smoke. She then threw a polyester blanket over the pot full of burning oil, which burned the whole kitchen down. Should have just put a lid on the pot. But now she got a brand new kitchen covered by insurance, lol. Greater than should have just put a lid on the pot. But now she got a brand new kitchen covered by insurance, lol. Sounds like she actually made the right move then. Incorrectly storing ingredients, seriously. You can get ill if you let raw chicken juice drip on your salad in the fridge. Then, cut meat and veg on separate boards. Cross-contamination is such a huge deal in cooking. Like no. You can't cut veg on the same board you just cut a raw steak on. You trying to make everyone sick? Technically you can. If you cut the veggies first. And they are put away. Your steak is not gonna get contaminated by onion and pepper juice. Always wear pants while cooking bacon. Or just an apron. Pants are critical, but real men cook bacon topless. It builds character. Learn this the hard way: don't throw fresh chili peppers into a hot pan unless you want to pepper spray the whole house. Have you ever cooked Indian food? Pepper spray is just part of the experience. Before and after. Cutting with a dull knife. Get yourself a sharpener. Even if it's a cheap one. Nah. Just get a new knife and save the dull one for the bathroom. This guy poop knives. Medium rare chicken. Works for steaks. But not for hen. Buffalo Wild Wings seems to think it's okay. Cooking with extra virgin olive oil over high heat. You sound bitter about this. Coming anywhere near my non-stick pan with metal. If you scratch my pan I will scratch your soul. My brother is really good about this. And then when he washes a non-stick pan you can hear the scratching from the brush against the pan 2 rooms away. And then he wonders why his non-stick pans only last approximately 6 months or so. Not seasoning your chicken. Overcooking chicken too. Straight to jail. Using metal utensils on Teflon-coated cookware. Cooking beef well done. Depends what you're cooking. If it's a steak, sure. If it's Hungarian goulash you cook it for hours. Greater than if a grease fire starts. Don't use water to try to put it out. Salt. A baking sheet, or a dry towel might work if you don't have a fire extinguisher. The pot's lid is the best one. Microwaving a salad. Of course you don't microwave a salad, you fucking donut. Do not mix hot cooking oil and cool sink water. I saw a girl burn the hell out of herself because she didn't listen to the home EC teacher. She threw her hot oil in a sink with some cool water running. Boom. Sprayed hot oil all over her arm and neck. Let your oil cool, folks. Why are people pouring oil down the sink in the first place? Don't try to catch a dropped knife. Back away and let it fall. A falling knife has no handle. Someone on Reddit. Probably. Guessing at amounts when baking. Baking is science. Cooking is art. Having ketchup as a pasta sauce. Instead of making one. Which is super easy and million times tastier. That's just disgusting. Has this actually happened before? Don't rinse your pasta. Pasta should never, ever be rinsed for a warm dish. The starch in the water is what helps the sauce adhere to your pasta. The only time you should ever rinse your pasta is when you are going to use it in a cold dish like a pasta salad, or when you are not going to use it immediately. Everything else I read here seemed like common sense. But I guess I've been doing pasta wrong my whole life. Never, and I mean never. Stick your dick into a hot saucepan. Don't want the family sauce to become Prego. Making a cake then eating the whole thing right after. You need to let it cool down enough before you apply the frosting. Only then can you eat the whole thing alone. By yourself. In the dark. Taste. As you go. My raw chicken never tastes very good, but I'm sure I'll find a good bird one day. Do not mix citric fruits with milk. I do this only for a buttermilk substitute and it actually works. Cutting a steak without letting it rest. Cutting a steak to check if it's done and then putting it back on the pan. What are you supposed to do if it's not done? Throw it in the trash and start a new one. Do not start cooking unless all or almost all ingredients are prepped. You cannot start chopping onions while your meat is frying dry in the pan. No way, I want to feel the pressure.